600,000 soldiers killed or wounded, 3 years of war. And the real winner? Never fired a single shot. While Russia and Ukraine bleed each other dry, one country is quietly collecting the profits, the weapons data, and the strategic power. Tonight, Professor Jiang names that hidden winner, and what you learn in the next 28 minutes will change how you see every war happening on this planet. February 24, 2022. Russian tanks crossed into Ukraine. Nobody expected this war to survive past the first month. Russia launched with 190,000 troops. Ukraine had 246,000 active soldiers. The gap looked impossible to close. But Ukraine survived, then fought back. Bakhmut fell after 10 brutal months. Russia gained rubble. Avdiivka fell in February 2024, costing Russia an estimated 47,000 dead soldiers. That is worse than their entire Afghan war death toll. NATO responded fast. HIMARS rocket systems arrived. Storm Shadow cruise missiles followed. F-16 fighters landed in Ukraine by August 2024. The war modernized rapidly. But while journalists tracked front lines, while politicians debated aid packages, a completely different story was unfolding elsewhere. Military factories in one country started running triple shifts. Their export orders exploded. Their engineers were collecting battlefield data faster than any peacetime exercise could ever provide. That country never fired a single shot. Yet it will emerge as the biggest strategic winner when this war ends. And almost nobody in mainstream media is talking about it. Here is what they are not telling you. This war created the most valuable weapons testing laboratory in modern history. And one country had a front row seat to every single experiment. China. Watching, recording, learning. Since 2022, both sides deployed over 2 million drones on this battlefield. 2 million. Ukrainian intelligence confirmed that Chinese-made MD-550 engines were found inside Iranian Shahed 136 kamikaze drones used by Russia. China never fired a shot. But Chinese parts were killing Ukrainian soldiers. Meanwhile, China's defense manufacturers watched every tactical lesson in real time. How drones get jammed, how swarms overwhelm air defenses, how loitering munitions evade radar. Every Ukrainian adaptation, every Russian counter, all of it flowing directly back to engineers in Shenzhen and Chengdu. Russia entered Ukraine with weapons designed in the 1970s. T-72 tanks, BMP-2 vehicles, Grad rocket systems. Cold War hardware meeting a 21st century battlefield. The results were catastrophic. NATO's Javelin anti-tank missile, with 4,750-meter range and top attack capability, destroyed hundreds of Russian armored vehicles in the opening months. Russia lost an estimated 2,500 tanks by end of 2023, nearly half their pre-war operational fleet. Half. China watched every single kill. Their engineers studied what happened to Russian armor under Javelin strikes. They studied thermal signatures. They studied crew survival rates. Now China's Type 99A2 tanks are being redesigned using lessons from Russian armor failures. China lost 0 tanks, but gained knowledge that would have cost them 2,000 destroyed vehicles to learn independently. Same story with electronic warfare. Russia's Krasuka 4 jamming system proved partially effective. Ukraine defeated it within months using low-altitude corridors and frequency-hopping software. China's PLA electronic warfare units absorbed every lesson from that cycle. Every move and countermove was a free tutorial. Now here is where the money trail gets impossible to ignore. Before 2022, Russia was the world's second largest arms exporter, selling $15.2 billion in weapons annually to over 45 countries. India, Algeria, Egypt, Vietnam. That market was locked up and reliable. Then the war destroyed Russia's reputation overnight. India watched Russian S-400 systems fail to stop drone strikes on Russian territory. Vietnam watched Russian-built warships sink in the Black Sea. Egypt watched Russian Su-35 fighters get shot down by cheap shoulder-fired missiles. The brand collapsed in real time. Who stepped into that gap? China's Norinco Corporation saw export inquiries jump 34% by 2023. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, and multiple African nations accelerated purchases of Chinese systems. Russia lost its customers. China absorbed them, without firing a single bullet. This is the most important revelation in this entire video. Every military analyst in Washington and Tokyo knows this, but almost none are saying it loudly. This war is Taiwan's preview. China's PLA has been running what analysts call a mirror exercise program since 2022. Every phase of the Ukraine war is studied and simulated against a Taiwan Strait scenario. China has over 1,250 ballistic missiles aimed at Taiwan right now. The DF-16 missile, range of 1,000 kilometers, payload of 1,000 kilograms, is central to that arsenal. Taiwan's Patriot PAC-3 batteries achieve roughly 70 to 85% intercept rates under ideal conditions. Against a simultaneous strike of 200 missiles, those numbers collapse completely. Russia tested exactly this saturation logic against Ukrainian air defenses in 2023 and 2024. Mixed salvos of Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, Shahed drones, and Kalibr cruise missiles, all fired together to overwhelm Kyiv's defenses. Sometimes successful, sometimes not. Every result was a data point, and China collected every single one. Here is your cliffhanger. What China learned about defeating integrated air defense systems is now being built directly into PLA operational plans. And the window for Taiwan to close that gap is narrowing faster than any official will publicly admit. Now let us examine exactly 3 weapons that reveal who is winning the long game. The Shahed 136 is an Iranian-designed kamikaze drone. Wingspan of 2.5 meters, launch weight of roughly 200 kilograms, warhead of 40 to 50 kilograms of explosive material, top speed of 185 kilometers per hour, range of approximately 2,000 kilometers. It is slow. That slowness is intentional. It flies low, flies at night, and uses terrain-following approaches. By 2024, Ukraine's intercept rate against Shaheds rose to approximately 85%, but Russia launched them in waves of 30 to 40 simultaneously. Even at 85% intercept, 5 to 6 drones got through every single wave. Here is the economic equation that should alarm you. Each Shahed costs Russia approximately $50,000 to produce. Each Patriot interceptor missile costs $4 million. The defender bleeds money, the attacker does not. China absorbed this cost asymmetry completely. It validates the core PLA doctrine: overwhelm expensive defenses with cheap, numerous munitions. China's own CH-901 loitering munition is already deployed. Range of 200 kilometers. A swarm of 500 CH-901s against Taiwan cost China roughly $25 million. Taiwan would spend 10 times that amount intercepting them. The M142 HIMARS is arguably the single most impactful weapon NATO provided to Ukraine. It fires GPS-guided rockets at 70-kilometer range with under 5-meter accuracy. It destroyed over 400 Russian ammunition depots and command posts in the summer of 2022 alone. That campaign pushed back Russian forces across Kherson and Kharkiv. HIMARS changed the war's entire direction. Russia had no equivalent at that range and precision level. Their countermeasure, moving supply depots deeper into rear areas, reduced HIMARS' effectiveness over time. But the damage to Russian logistics in that 6-month window was already irreversible. According to a leaked NATO intelligence assessment referenced in open-source defense publications in early 2024, China's PLA rocket force had already incorporated HIMARS-equivalent operational concepts into their PHL-191 rocket units by mid-2023. The PHL-191 reaches 300 kilometers with a guided warhead. China did not need to test this in combat. Ukraine did the testing for them. Russia's Kinzhal hypersonic missile travels at Mach 10, approximately 12,250 kilometers per hour. Range exceeding 2,000 kilometers from its MiG-31K launch aircraft. Russia called it unstoppable. Then Ukraine intercepted one with a Patriot PAC-3 battery in May 2023. That single intercept shook the entire global defense establishment. But here's the nuance most analysts missed. The Kinzhal had decelerated to roughly Mach 5 to 6 by terminal phase over Kyiv. It was more vulnerable than advertised. China's DF-ZF and DF-27 hypersonic glide vehicles maintain unpredictable flight paths throughout their entire trajectory. No current Western air defense system has a confirmed intercept capability against them. China studied the Kinzhal's failure. They did not celebrate Russia's embarrassment. They accelerated their own program to avoid every vulnerability Russia exposed. The DF-27, estimated range of 5,000 to 8,000 kilometers with a maneuvering re-entry vehicle, is built on everything Russia got wrong. CSIS satellite imagery analysis confirmed at least 4 DF-27 test launches between 2023 and early 2025. Every test was informed by watching what happened over Kyiv. China entered this war as a spectator. It exits as the most comprehensively upgraded military power on the planet, without spending a dollar on actual combat. 2 scenarios, one for the optimists, one for those paying real attention. The Ukraine war ends within 18 months through a negotiated ceasefire. Russia retains some occupied territory. Western nations declare partial victory. Aid packages slow down. In this outcome, China's gains are significant but not yet decisive. Democracies still have time to respond. Taiwan accelerates its asymmetric defense programs. New air defense layers get installed within 24 months. The window for China narrows, but does not close entirely. This outcome requires decisions made immediately. The clock is already running. The war drags past 2026. Western political fatigue breaks. Aid collapses. Ukraine's front lines fracture. Russia achieves its maximalist goals. And immediately after, while NATO is distracted and demoralized, China moves on Taiwan. The timeline is surgical. Satellite communications disrupted in hour 1, undersea cables cut in hour 2, ballistic missile strikes on Taiwan's air bases in hour 3, naval blockade closes the Taiwan Strait by hour 6. The window for any U.S. carrier group intervention shrinks to 72 hours. After 72 hours, the military balance tips permanently. China would not even need a full invasion. Economic strangulation alone might force capitulation. The result? 92% of the world's advanced semiconductors suddenly cut off. A global recession deeper than 2008 arrives within months. Every car, every phone, every defense system faces immediate catastrophic shortage. The global order built since 1945 does not crack. It shatters. The decisions made in the next 36 months determine which future we actually live in. We promised you a hidden winner. Here it is. Not Russia. Russia has lost an estimated 315,000 soldiers killed or missing. Its economy is distorted entirely toward military production. Its arms export reputation is permanently destroyed. Russia is gaining territory and losing its future. Not Ukraine. Ukraine is surviving, heroically, but at catastrophic cost. Reconstruction already exceeds $500 billion. A generation of men is gone. Not NATO. The alliance is more unified, but its ammunition stockpiles fell to dangerously low levels by 2024. Factories are still catching up today. The winner is China. China collected 3 years of the most intense real-world military data in modern history. It upgraded its doctrine. It absorbed Russia's entire arms market. It refined its Taiwan operational plans. It did all of this without losing a single soldier. Military strategists call this war by proxy learning. Every great power has done it. America in Korea and Vietnam, the Soviets in Angola and Afghanistan. China has now done it in Ukraine, more efficiently than anyone before them. History will record this moment with brutal clarity. While two nations bled each other white, one nation quietly moved to the front of the line. The hidden winner of this war never fired a shot. China is not just watching Ukraine, it is watching the Pacific right now. Something is moving there that may force a confrontation far sooner than any public timeline admits. If China has already rehearsed the Taiwan scenario using Ukraine's battlefield data, what does the PLA's internal readiness clock actually say? Professor Jiang answers that question in the next video. Subscribe now, hit the notification bell, because that video may be the most important one we ever publish.